Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna and today we'll be talking. This is going to be really interesting. I think all the weird books I have read or I have yet to read. Let's get going. So my first one is Valentine 451 by Ray Bradbury. From what I can remember, this book was honestly really weird because they were basically burning books that you weren't allowed to read. As far as I can remember, I could be wrong. But basically, 60 years after its original publication, Ray Bradbury's international acclaimed novel Fahrenheit 451 stands as a classic of world literature set in a bleak dystopian future. Today, its message has grown more relevant than ever before. And so, from what I can remember, honestly, it was weird. I don't know how to feel about this book. I don't know. It was just so strange. The way how the story was going and the characters, but they were all just weird and awkward at times. But yeah, it was just weird. I know none of the explanation as to why, but the whole thing just felt, wow, what's happening? But yeah, honestly, I think the main issue was that the book was just too short, and I couldn't really connect with its characters. And I feel like the book could have been much more in depth if the book was actually more longer. It was just longer. And so it was just kind of too short. It almost felt like a novella. I'm not sure if it actually is a novella, but it almost feels like it. So yeah, so this is just a plain weird book, in all honesty. Alright, so my next book that I want to read it's another weird one. House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. A young family moves into a small home on Ash Tree Lane, when they discover something is terribly wrong. The house is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. Of course, neither Pulitzer Prize winning photojournalist Will Navidson nor his companion Karen Green were prepared to face the consequences of that impossibility until the day the two little children wandered off and their voices eerily began to return another story. A creature of darkness, of an ever-growing abyss behind a closet door, and of the unholy growl which soon enough would peer through the walls, and consume all their dreams. It sounds good, but kind of weird at the same time, so we will see how weird this book is. And the next book that I have read is A House with Good Barns by T. Kingfisher. A haunting Southern Gothic explores the dark, twisted roots lurking just beneath the veneer of a perfect common family. So the one thing that kind of I hated the most was that I actually like when characters think, don't get me wrong, but this girl, Sam, she was just thinking way too much, oh, it's not paranormal. She refuses to think that all the sightings and all that stuff was happening because it was actually paranormal. But for some reason she's oh, that's not paranormal, that's nothing. Okay, fine. Like I said before, I like where characters like to think logically, and she did, which is fine. But it kind of got really too tedious for me to even care about her. It just kind of got annoying and really ruined the fun mood of the story. It was dark and creepy, and I love the atmosphere of the book and the setting. But yeah, but in all honesty, this book was also weird. I don't know if it's because of the way how it was written or how the story was taking place, but either way, it was just a really weird book. But I still had a fun time with it. Regardless, even though I didn't rate it because I wasn't sure how to feel about the book, but yeah, it was a pretty wild ride, I would say. And my next book is Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. This is also I really want to read, and Libby Day was just 7 years old when her evidence put her 15-year-old brother behind bars. Since then, she hasn't been drifting. But when she is contacted by a group who are convinced of Ben's innocence, Libby starts to ask questions she never dared to before. Was the voice she heard her brother's? Ben was a misfit in the small town, but was he capable of murder? Are the secrets to uncover at the family farm, or is Libby deluding herself because she wants her brother back? We're gonna find out, I see. And my next book is Wilder Girls by Rory Power. It's been 18 months since the Baxter School for Girls was put under quarantine, since the toxic and pulled Hetty's life out from under her. It started slow. First the teachers died one by one, then began to infect the students, turning their bodies strange and foreign. Now cut off from the rest of the world and left to fend for themselves on the island home, the girls don't dare wander outside the school fence when toxins made the woods wild and dangerous. They wait for the cure they were promised as the tox seeps into everything. But when Brian goes missing, Hector will do anything to find her, even if it means breaking quarantine and braving the horrors that lie beyond the fence. And when she does, Hetty learns that there's more to her story, to the life at Rockstar than she could have ever thought true. So it's like COVID 2.0. Oh gosh, I don't know if I want to relive that. It literally came out on July 9th, 2019. And I think COVID started at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. Yeah, not a fun time for everyone. That I wouldn't even count that year as a year. That we just lost a year because of it. I wouldn't even count on that. And I still think it's man-made. I don't think it was nature-made. So, and my next real book is The Night Circus by Evan Morgenstern. From what I can remember, I read this a while back. It was pretty weird. I don't know how to feel about the characters. So I did really like the writing a lot, and I liked how everything was so crafted well. I did like it. I actually liked the circus, but yeah, the pacing was just slow, and maybe it was the atmosphere that made the book really weird. I liked how everything was described, but the only thing from what I can remember was the father. I don't think I liked the father and how he treated the little girl. But honestly, I don't think the book actually kept its promises. There was no deal, no fierce competition, no trained since childhood kind of thing. So the book didn't really hold its promise, despite what the synopsis said. But I remember it was just really slow and I was bored, and yeah, I just didn't really like the book. I did give it 3 stars, probably because of the way it was written, but that's about it. And my next one is probably the weirdest of all, and that is Cats and Gemma by Francesca Sacchia. Oh my lord. Honestly, I still don't know how to feel about this book, but I did it as a 3 stars, but even that is questionable because I had such a hard time rating it. So 3 stars is questionable. It was such a weird book from what I can remember. Holy crap. There was actually a lot of violence, and but yeah, so the story has past and present kind of thing, which does make the story more interesting. So it is a horror novel, so it will have a lot of gory scenes, so don't read it if that triggers you, but yeah, it was interesting. I remember the ending was a little bit weird. It kind of took me off, well, what? But I did understand what the author was trying to do, but the whole vibe was just so weird. The characters are weird, the atmosphere was weird, the story was just plain weird. Take a shot every time I say weird. Kids, you better take water every time you say weird. But anyways, yeah, so to this day, I still don't know how to feel about this book. It was just the strangest book I had ever read. Will I go back to it? Honestly, probably not. I think I would still have that same feeling as to how I first started it. So, yeah, I don't know how to feel about this book. I appreciate the author for trying different things, but it was just so weird. Holy crap, the stuff they do is damn, what? But, yeah, but anyways, that's all the books that I thought was weird or I would still want to read. But yeah, let me know what's the weirdest book you had ever written. Well, if you're an author, let me know. I would like to read your book, and let me know what book, the weirdest book you have ever read. And please comment, subscribe, so let me know if I have to post. I will see you in my next one. Bye.